What is the word I'm looking for? Jeez, thank content. Good gracious,
check, yeah.
This is gonna be an interesting podcast.
Interesting.
Boys. Let's do it.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Transformation Church Message Recap Podcast. Almost messed it up. We're back. We're doing pretty good on the
Man,
we're several weeks in a row without missing.
Yeah.
What I feel like.
I mean, I don't think we missed. When's the last one we missed?
We're doing pretty good. Perfect attendance. Perfect. 3 weeks. Oh, yeah.
3 weeks
As
ago.
good as I thought.
That's what 3 weeks ago.
Anyways, we're back. I'm one of your hosts, Justin.
But not this week.
Yep, lead pastor of TC is with us, Brad Livingston, and the student director, Nate Popejoy.
What's up, guys?
Nate's got a new title. New
He
role.
does.
Got a little
New
extra
role.
responsibility.
As of July
Let's tell the
1st.
world what your new role is.
So,
In addition to being a students director.
in addition to being a students director, I am now the guest experience director of Transformation Church.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So, I'm excited and honored.
What does that mean?
I am in charge of all guest experience things.
Yeah. Like
Most
teams,
guest experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
teams
teams.
on Sunday that deal with guests and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Parking lot.
All the teams that are face to
Services.
face. Yeah, all the teams that are face to face with our
Kids
guests.
check in.
yeah.
I think kids check in. Oh, that's
No, that's
kids.
kids,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, that's kids. Ushers.
Ushers, venue control.
Usher, venue, yeah.
Wow. Are you ready for
Greeters.
this, Nate?
Connect.
I think I'm ready. I think, we'll find out. And if I'm not, I'll get ready.
Most definitely.
I'll do it. I like to continuously grow and empower other peoples to grow. So
Other people's?
other people. Did I say peoples?
You did.
All them peoples. Yeah, no, we're excited. Excited for Nate.
You know, if it doesn't work, though, you don't
I always
just go
got a
back
student director.
You don't just get to go back to being student director.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're going to have to cut your pay.
Yeah,
You're no longer
yeah.
an experience
Yeah.
director.
You're
You
gone.
didn't get an increase for being an experience director,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you're going to get a cut if you're not going to be. No, I'm just
That's
kidding.
true.
I said I'm kidding. He said it's true at the same time.
He said he's kidding. It's true.
True.
No, I think it's good.
I'm scared.
No, you're scared.
I'm not.
That's going to be good.
Yeah.
You know, we got a little shift going on. Ashley is now the kids director, which
Yep.
I think we've said that maybe
Yep.
on the podcast, but I don't know.
Sure have,
That's
I think.
fairly new. So if you didn't know that, now you know.
If you don't know, now you know.
If you don't know, now you know. I saw online it's been a year since Lydia and them have left.
That's crazy, dude.
That's wild.
Who was Lydia to the people
Lydia
who
was
don't
our
know who
kids
Lydia is?
director for
Okay.
She was 2 kids directors ago.
several years. For several years, I
Yeah.
think she held the title.
Yeah, she was kids director when we were portable, and then she was kids director when we moved into the building, and kids director for the first 2 years we were here.
Come on.
Yep.
Lydia and her husband moved to
And Garen,
I don't know where they went to.
Indiana?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's in Indiana,
wherever
right?
that's at. Yeah,
Indiana, right?
I think so.
sounds
Yeah.
right. Let's look it up.
Notre Dame.
Yeah, he is the assistant
Athletic
director at the University of Notre Dame.
Yeah,
It's wild.
they called me and said, "What do you think about this?" I said, "That's a huge opportunity, bro. Big step up from UWF assistant
Athletic.
director." Like,
Oh, he was the assistant?
assistant athletic director. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
it's very, very rare.
One of, yeah.
Oh yeah, they're in Notre Dame, Indiana.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's what I thought.
Notre
Well,
Dame.
and Lydia's an attorney, and you can do that anywhere, really.
Yeah,
You know.
as long as you are past the bar for that state or something like that. But yeah, I mean, that just never happens. You never get a call up from an assistant AD at a D2, D3 school to an assistant AD at a D1 school. Usually, you have to go like assistant AD to full AD at a D2, D3 school. Then you get
Gotcha.
called to an assistant AD at a D1 school. So it's like it usually
Plus,
works
it's
that
like
way.
Notre Dame. It's like
well,
semi-private or something, isn't it? Or maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it's that's a big deal. I mean, it's an iconic school. like-
yeah.
So it's just rare, but he just got it was right place, right time.
That's where Quasimodo went.
That's
That's wild.
oh man,
That's where Rudy went.
Oh, wow, Rudy.
Yeah.
What a movie.
So, anyways, great. Love you, Lydia and Garen. Talking about 2 people that most of the people that are watching this don't even know who they are. So, but yeah, and Ashley has been in that position for a little over a month now. She's loving it, doing great. Nate's got some new. Everyone's getting kind of shifted around
Hey,
here.
we shift every once in a while, you know?
And boy, do we.
Yeah.
And when we do it for real.
We like to We like to move around.
It's been a little while since we took a
things up
wall
a little
out
bit.
around here. We might need to.
Taking
we're
the
taking
door
a door out
Kyle said
soon?
we're taking a door out soon.
Where at? Oh yeah. We're gonna be taking a door out
I was
soon.
about to say that is so cool that you don't know that. Then that means you're just like, you don't, that is
It's a
awesome.
big deal, man.
That's
It's a
good.
big deal.
Don't need to know it all, you know?
Yeah, you don't need to. As you grow bigger, you just gotta,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I mean, we got some movements gonna happen soon. Wait, which door are you talking about? Oh, they're getting rid of that? Oh, right on.
That's good. That's good that you don't know that.
Sounds good to me. I'm sure you got good reasons. If you and Justin both agree to it, since you guys
I
have,
didn't even know. Yeah.
since you have high discernment
good.
on your
Yeah.
Working
Working
genius.
genius.
Working
Wow.
genius.
Trust
Yeah,
you.
come on.
I trust it. So we did the Working Genius recently here at
Yeah.
Transformation Church. If you know anything about Patrick Lencioni, he has a great program called the Working Genius to help your team become more efficient and enjoy their job more. And so,
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's like a personality thing, but not.
right. It's
It's
more
geared
about
toward work.
geared toward work, how you do every job, no matter if you're a church or a retail business or manufacturing plant or whatever. Essentially, the job breaks down to 3 different areas, as far as inception, activation, and development, or whatever those 3 were that they talked about. And in that, there are 6 ideation. Thank you. Way to go, Kyle.
Inception.
Ideation, activation, implementation. Yeah.
think
So,
that's right.
and in that, each one of those have 2 things. So there's 6 different areas. Anyways, all that to say is, it was really valuable for us as a team. It was really helpful. Me and Justin have talked about it a ton already because there's certain things that have happened over the last 2 weeks since we did it that I'm like, this is why I'm struggling with blah, right? Like we're waiting on a phone call from someone that we need them to give us some information about things that could be potential help for the future of the church. And I'm living in my wonder space until they give me an answer. So I'm just like, I'm living in this like dreamland until, if it's a no, that's fine. But if it's a yes, great. But until then, I'm just in the constant state of dream until I can get an answer. So it's helped me figure out why I get so frustrated. And I was telling him, because like I keep checking in with him to see if he's got the phone call. And I was telling him as a way of saying like, hey, just so you know, this is why I keep checking. It's not that I want to be annoying. It's that I can't get this out of my head until I can't get out of the wonder phase with it until I know. So, but anyways, it's just helpful. It's a cool thing. So
Yeah, and then like with it, we did it, and then like it makes like you map out the whole team where everybody lies, and where as a team where you're weak, like areas maybe weaker in.
Yeah.
And
it really helps you get the right people in the right seat on the bus. That's the big goal. It's just like, just because someone has a certain job title, they may be more beneficial in certain meetings. And just because they have a manager title, they may not actually be best in implementation meetings. They may actually be best in ideation meetings or when you're coming up with the ideas and stuff like that. So anyway, it's just super, super helpful. So Nate, what are you? You're
I'm a GE, galvanizer, and enablement, which makes sense on what I was saying about the empowering people. And like, I really enjoy that. I really enjoy me being able to empower people and seeing people succeed. Like that is one of my greatest joys.
So Nate galvanizes ideas and people and gets everybody moving, and he's an enablement, and he like pushes teams to be better, to grow. Like he's a motivator. If you've ever been around Nate, that's 100% true. I called that for him before we ever took it. I was like, this dude, he's a galvanizer and an enabler. I knew it already, but then Justin got a.
me and Kyle are the same.
ID?
Tenacity and discernment.
Yeah, DT.
DT.
Yeah.
Nice.
Tenacity and discernment. So knew that. I knew discernment for sure. I wasn't sure about the other one yet.
Yeah, and mine changed. I took it a year or so ago with a different with PYP, but I was sat in a different role.
Yeah.
Like there was some other things were required of me. So I think I had discernment, but the tenacity was different.
I think it was like probably the eye. I feel like it was the eye, like Invention.
Yeah, that could be it. It was something like that.
Because
look back.
I think you do extremely well in the Invention seat, even though it's part of your, it's not your highest two. I think you're really, really comfortable in that seat. Maybe you had to, like, I don't mean this about me. I genuinely mean this about you, but maybe working with me forced that a little bit for you, because it's when it was just me and you for so long, and I lived in the Wonder area, and someone had to be the invention person with me, to like, let's come up with the thing that's going to do this. So
right.
You know, like,
yeah, because I mean the you know, your working genius, and then what's the middle called?
That's your
not your frustration, but your
competency.
You can.
Yeah.
You just remembered better. You don't have a spotlight on you right now.
Yeah, but like, you can do those things. It's not your favorite. You know, it doesn't come as natural. And then you have a frustration. You know,
the stuff you're just not good at, and it drains you.
You know, but those things are important. I mean, we're on a whole thing right now because we're going to do another book as a staff, and I don't know if this is helpful for people, but I don't know what people think we do all day or all week. You know, they probably think there's a. I would assume, you know, you think there's a whole lot of like, what do they actually do? Is it, you know, some people probably think we have gravy jobs, like they get paid to like
play cards all day, watch TV,
get on stage on Sunday. It's like,
if you only knew.
Yeah.
If you only
like,
knew. We preach for free, right, Nate?
Yeah.
We preach for free.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, our real job has nothing to do with that.
Yep.
But like, what do we do? But as we've grown as a staff too, it's like, you know, there's a whole team, and we take that pretty serious, or try to, as far as like, we don't want dysfunction on the team and things like that. So this was step one, and some things we're doing. The next book, we're using some of Patrick Lencioni's stuff. So step one was Working Genius. The next book we're going to read together as a group is The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, which I've read before. Really good stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and then it also, then you move into things like even organizationally, where it helps like make sure your meetings are not just, you're not meeting for meeting's sake and things like that. So yeah, it's good stuff. The 5 Dysfunctions is good.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to be able to trust and all those things with your team.
Yeah.
But
my genius is wonder and invention.
I see that. Definitely.
I am the idea guy.
Yeah.
So that's why Rick said, it's like, it makes sense, dude. I find you just walking through the building sometimes looking at walls, and I'm like, what is he doing?
Well,
and
honestly,
I'm imagining what would happen if this wall wasn't here.
Yeah, like with the invention, my frustration is invention. And so a lot of the times when we're standing in the lobby and we've sat there, you're like, what do you think, Nate? And I'm like, I start to get mad at myself because I can't think of anything. Like, I'm trying to. You know, some of the things, like, I'm trying to think of something and I can't. And it's frustrating. It makes me mad because with things that I can't do, I'm
the competitive nature.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to think of something, you know, but I think I'm learning to become more like that. But yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like, I think that some people, and this isn't a bad thing, it's just like, it just is, right? It's like, some people need, I call it a kickstart of inspiration. Show me something, and then I can use that to kind of, oh, it would be great if, right? And then some people can genuinely just yank something out of thin air and be like, let's do this. But it's like good to know that, right? So it's like when we're sitting in the lobby, I don't have to like stress you out, you know. It's because it's like, okay, this invention's not necessarily like it's a frustration for you. So if I keep forcing you into that place, you could get to the place where you're like exhausted for no reason. You're not able to do the thing you're good at because I'm stressing you out over the thing that drains you a little bit. So it's like, you want to develop it, and we can develop it a little bit at a time, but it doesn't have to drain you. You know, it's like, if I made you do that for 2 hours and then you went back to your chair at your desk and you didn't galvanize your team because I wore you out. It's like, whereas I'm just sitting here like,
and I think part of that though is part of that may be, I wonder if part of that is like level. Like, what I mean by level is, there are things that, Nate, you just don't know, even about I don't say about the organization, but like, you know, you've thought through so much because it's like you're the leader, you know, or whatever.
Right.
So when you're sitting in the lobby thinking of something, you're also thinking about like, how does these 3 other things play into that? Yeah. You don't have the luxury of, if he says, what do you think about this? That's kind of not a fair question. Right. Because there's so much more to it that he's had the luxury of thinking about that you don't, you know? So it's like, what should we do in the lobby? Well, he's also thinking about, well, how does that work for a parking lot, and also the people exiting kids' church or for what or whatever? Not just where should the Connect Center go?
Yeah, and I think
and that's not so. It's almost not a fair question to some people.
It's very difficult
because there's so much. There could be more to that. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what we talked about. I mean, as different people have come on staff and had to implement their ideas, it's like even like Rick and Tiff. It's like when they first came on staff, we were getting ready for rallies. They would put tables like right here, and I was like, don't ever do that again. And it wasn't like I didn't literally say it like that. I was like, that's just not a good idea because. And it's like all these things we've thought further out that it's like they're like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that, or just information we've learned. Like if something's in the middle of the lobby, it cuts the lobby in half. No one goes on the other side of it for whatever reason. It's like a mental barrier that it just. So it's like we got to stop putting stuff right there, like things that we've just learned over the years that most people that are new to it don't know.
Well, that's why I've always had a hard time, like. When people give suggestions, it irks me, and I know it's wrong, but. Like as like we're trying to have a culture of feedback. So if someone that's like serving on one of our team has a suggestion on a Sunday, my first inclination is like, I'm like honestly, I'm like, in my mind, I'm gonna say this like, okay, you listen to them, but that's not necessarily the right thought to have. Yeah. Because what we've learned over time too is sometimes those suggestions can be very valuable because those people are working in it. Like they're doing it, but the flip side of that is, how many times have we got suggestions where it's like, man, I've spent hours thinking about why we did that. You looked at it for 5 minutes. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't care to hear your suggestion. Again, I'm wrong most of the time. Yeah. Most of the time. But sometimes people are in it. And that's great because we can create something on paper and then when you implement it, it's different. So, and the people that are actually doing it can give feedback. But
that's one of the things I've told Rick over and over again. I'm like, wars have been won and lost when people in offices make decisions for boots on the ground. You know what I'm saying? It's like the people that are out there, they know. Yeah. Now, again, like you said, they don't always know why. So they're like, well, why don't y'all just move this to here to there? And it's like, well, because we know that when we did that before, it caused this problem, or it didn't do what you think it's going to do. And we thought it was going to do that too until we found out it didn't do it. Like so it's like, but again, I think it's also like, I think it also depends on the leaders that other people sat under. Whereas I think a lot of times if you come from a place where the leader isn't very, isn't maybe using the language or using a wanderer, isn't an invention genius, like genius, their genius isn't invention. Then things that they're used to happening don't have as much thought behind it. It's just stuff is happening, and they're like, well, why don't y'all just do this? Whereas around here, people would probably be shocked the amount of intentionality goes into stuff around here. Like,
right. And that's kind of what I mean is like, and I don't, no one, if you don't know that, you can't fault them for it. So it's like, that's why on Sunday you just got to you just be nice to people and listen to their suggestions. So it's not I'm not, surely not knocking anyone.
Every so often it's good.
It is, but there's also like I said, there's kind of the way it works around here is we're going to implement something because we've thought about it. And over time, as the people who actually do it give feedback, we'll make adjustments. Yeah. But it's usually not the teams that come up with the idea of we're going to move the Connect Center across the room. Right. They're not the ones coming up with that idea. And if they came up with that, we'd probably not go with it at first. Or you'd have to have a good... You'd have to have a good why, But and I think that's okay. It's like, to me, it's at the end of the day, I think that there's roles, and the reason there are roles are many. Whether you look at the gifts that God gave us, and we're all a part of the body, but we all have different roles we play. And it's like when you equate that over to a football team or something, somebody's the coach. And the way we feel right now is like. We want everybody, and I think even with staff in a lot of ways, it's like, this is the playbook, and we want you running these plays. Yeah. And until we can execute on these plays flawlessly, I'm not too interested in talking about changing new stuff or changing the plays. Like, these are the plays that we know work, the basics or whatever. We know these plays work, and we're going to run these. And
we don't run it till we can get it right. We run it till we
can't get it wrong.
Or
at least that's how practice should be. Yeah. Right. I mean, so it's like that's kind of how we feel. I think even with some things right now where we have, because we're growing so fast too. It's like it's just so hard to.
I saw something on Sunday that I was like, someone made a call, and I was like, This exact conversation played out on Sunday morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'll talk about it on here because we'll have fixed it by this Sunday. So people will be looking for it. So we have 2 poster stands in the building. All right.
Yeah.
So there's one over there.
Right
so we have a tall one and a short one.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I do now that you said that, because that was the first thing that Lexi pointed out to me, and I'm like, yeah, I can't see over that because I can normally stand there.
That's right.
And see over it.
So when we bought both of them, they were both tall. And the first Sunday they were out there, we put them out there, and it felt like a great idea. Well, I put it out there. I walked out of the building. This is all happening on a Sunday morning. This is 10 minutes before I'm preaching. I walk out of the building. I walk into the building, and I instantly go, I don't like it. Because if you're walking in the building for the first time, it's too tall, and it feels like it's stopping you from seeing the environment.
Yeah.
It needs to be shorter. So I took it home, and I took a grinder to that thing and hacked 18 inches off of the legs of that thing. And matter of fact, I think I did it to both of them, and then one of them, the poster stand, we flipped upside down. So then it's shorter again. So both of them, I think, were supposed to be 6 feet tall. Now they're both 5 feet tall or something like that. Anyways, I cut both of them down, and then the shorter one, I flipped the poster stand over so that now when you walk in, the sign's in front of you, but you can see over it. And I even brought like Ashley in and 2 people that were like 5'3"-ish. It's like, can you see over this enough that you feel comfortable? And they both said yes. And so that was the height we left it at. And I walked through Sunday, and the tall poster stand was there. And I said, why is the tall poster stand there? And someone said, because the shorter one, we have to move down the hallway, and it's easier to move the shorter one. And I was like, and it goes back, it's like they made a decision that made sense to them, but they don't understand how much intentionality we went through, or at least I went through, for what I wanted the entryway of our church to feel like.
Yeah.
All they were thinking about was, this one's easier to move down the hallway. And it was like...
Which to me is a bad reason.
Oh, yeah, it's not... Yeah,
Funny you say that, though, because Lexi brought that up to him, like, yeah, that's really tall, because I normally can see over it, and it's blocking the view.
So someone had swapped them so that the one they were moving was shorter. It's easier to get out of doorways and stuff like that. And I was like, well, then we need 2 shorter ones, not... You know what I mean? But it was like, there's a solution to this. But all that to say, so it's going along with what you're talking about. It's like, I think people probably underestimate the amount of like the smallest detail we go through to make sure that things are, the way we want them to be. And it's like, do we always get it right? No, but nothing is just kind of thrown around. Like, it's like we're always thinking about some of these things. So people would probably be shocked at how much we think about this kind of stuff. So for all of you out there you go.
I think it's good too.
If you want to know how bad my OCD is,
I think it's I think that's what creates excellence, and when you do stuff, and I think there's nothing wrong with it.
Nope. There's a reason we are who we are. That's what I say.
When you care about something or want it to be right, and and I think that because of that, you see the fruit of it. Yep. I think it matters.
Absolutely.
I think all that stuff matters.
Well, I mean, how many people walk through the door? And I'm not saying it's because I made a shorter poster stand. But when people walk through the door, they do say this. And I know what I felt when the poster stand was taller. People walk in and say, it just feels free in here. Now, if they were face to face with something that was taller than their head, would they have felt that? Maybe, but I know that we made a point not to inhibit that feeling because we were intentional about this thing. So
and honestly, to me, with some of that, I mean, there's not maybe you could go spiritualize it if you wanted to. That's not a spiritual thing, and I think more organizations, and I'll go and say churches, should like see what it feels like to be the guest. You know what I mean? They just over time you don't if you're the leader or in leadership of a church, you're not thinking about where someone's eyes go when they walk in your room, in your lobby the first time. And it's like, are those gifts we have? Maybe that makes us special, but I also think because of the environments or work we come from before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sales backgrounds and
100%.
Retail or whatever. And I think that does help. Yeah. It's like when people walk in, like, what do they see?
Yeah.
What do they see? Does it look confusing? Are they, you can tell who's new.
Yeah.
You know, you can tell who's new if you really watch because they don't really know where to go. But I think all that stuff matters, you know. So when you answer those questions for them by making the sign, having signage, or I mean, some places don't even have signage, you know, or whatever. But by having signage, or I think all that just helps.
Yeah, I listened to a podcast the other day. The guy was talking about how it was like 10 ways to know that you're not ready for new people to come to your church.
Ooh.
And I was like, that's good. And what was cool was like, we're doing great on 9.5 out of 10 of them. There was one that I was like, kind of like, okay, like I can see that. I don't know if I necessarily, it had to do with worship and like song lyrics that unsaved people, they don't know what they mean. So it was like, if you're using names of God other than God. And I was like
the Elohim,
some of that. I was like, okay, like the song we just sang. And when they were singing it, I was literally thinking about that podcast. I was like,
I get that though.
Yeah,
I do.
But so I made a note in my phone to talk to Vince because I think I think what we can do is honor music that is true, authentic worship like that by encouraging the worship leaders to help lead the people. So it's like just take a moment before that song and explain what's happening, and I think you're good. I think that's what the guy when the podcast was talking about. He's like, if you're just up there singing stuff that no one out there understands, your church really isn't prepared for new people. But then he talked about signage and people. You know, one of the things actually Kyle talked about a lot. I think we feel like we've done better with it over the years. Is not letting. You can't let certain things replace people on campus. So it's like, yeah, you can put a sign that says welcome outside, but if you don't put people there, they don't feel the thing that you're trying to accomplish. It's like there's in some places you just can't replace people. You have to have people there to be part of it. So way to go, Kyle. Passive versus active. That's right. Yeah. I don't know where you learned it, but it was pretty good. I think he learned it from me.
What's funny is you wouldn't want to put him out there.
We would not want Kyle out there. No, Kyle would not.
To be that
Kyle
guy.
is not. I think he could fake it at this point. He could fake it now.
That's true, yeah.
He's got 2 girls now. He can fake it. He knows what it looks like to kick on the charm. But oh, that's fair. He has 2 daughters. Yeah. Not 2. Yeah, just so we're clear, he's not dating 2 women. Only one wife. Yeah.
He's actually got 3 girls.
Yeah.
One wife, 2 daughters.
Yeah, exactly.
Pull up.
Yeah, literally. Heather's like, I heard you say that. That's so wild. She got that ESP. But yeah, no, it's true. You can't. There's I think there's a lot of places out there they try to use passive rather than active means of accomplishing their goal.
The best analogy or the best thing to equate it to, because all this is culture stuff, really.
Culture, baby.
But like, it's restaurants is the easiest thing that everyone can relate to.
Absolutely.
Like I went to, for example, when you go to Chick-fil-A now, they got this a whole army outside with iPads and all kind of belts where they can slide your card and change and all kind of stuff.
Whole bat belt, bro. They got a whole
whole thing. And like the one on 9 Miles tinted, you're under a tent and the whole thing is nice. But like you go to McDonald's, the girl at the window is trying to give you your change and stuff while taking the order of the next person.
Yeah.
So she ain't talking to you.
Yeah.
She's talking, what do you want? On the thing. Here's your change. It's like, it's very it's just different. Of course, McDonald's average people on a shift, I have no idea, but Chick-fil-A, the number is way higher.
Like 3 times higher.
They have a lot of people on a shift but
customer experience.
Look what you get out of it. So I think that's the best way to equate it is like, if you go to, like there's, especially like something like Popeyes.
Oh, dear
it's the worst.
The worst.
I'm still going though.
True.
The chicken's good.
You got to be committed to the chicken. Yeah. The product is good enough to override the culture.
Yeah.
So if you got good product, it'll last for a while.
But they will mess your order up.
Absolutely. The good thing is whatever they give you is going to be good. You know what I mean?
But there's just something about your experience at Chick-fil-A, which is why I think people will. It also moves fast. So when you pull up and you see 20 cars, you're like, it's not that long.
But
that matters.
And it brings down a couple other layers too, because excellence, what excellence does is it creates comfort. Excellence creates comfort and it creates consistency. So because of that, you know what you're going to get when you go to Chick-fil-A.
100%.
You go to Popeye, you don't know. You don't go to McDonald's. You don't. Matter of fact, I told a manager at a McDonald's the other day. I stopped to get some French fries for Ashley, and it was like one of the things I ordered a French fry and a nugget, right? Can you pull up to the little window? Can you pull up to the third window? I'm like,
oh, yes.
Right. So I pull up to the third window.
They had me parked the other day.
Yeah.
It's McDonald's.
Yeah. So I pull up to the window. I'm not in a bad mood. I'm fine. Pull up to the window. When I ordered, I said, can I get extra barbecue sauce? I said, I need 4 to be exact. Barbecue sauce with the fries and the nuggets, 4. Usually get 2, but I ordered 4. How many do you think she brought me?
2.
0.
Oh.
0. No barbecue sauce.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
But the girl was so sweet. And I said, hey, can I just get 4 barbecue sauce? And she said, absolutely. Hold on. I'll be right back. And she had an order in her hand to give to the car behind me. But like, it wasn't like, well, just, can you pull around? Like, she's like, no, I'll be right back. She ran, came back. She said, I gave you 5 just in case you need an extra one. And I was like,
that's what I'm talking about.
Thank you. And I was like, and so, I remembered that I know the manager at that particular, like I don't know them, but I Facebook friends or whatever. And so I sent her a message. I was like, hey, just so you know, I kind of described her. There's a little blonde girl, blah, 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 blah. She was phenomenal. She's incredible. Like, do everything you can to keep her. She really had a great spirit. And it's like, it's almost like it's such a rarity to experience that in some places.
And here's the frustrating part, though. Like when you go to Chick-fil-A and you get your order, they ask you condiments and whatever, sauces, and they put it in, and you get it because it's on the ticket.
Yes.
So there's the Whataburger by my house.
Uh-oh.
I usually, on a Sunday morning, I try to go through there. There's no one there usually. I'm the only one in the drive-thru. I pull up in the speaker. There's no one ahead of me, you know. And they ask for a name for the order, which always bothers me. It's like, there's no one else here. Just make my order.
Yeah,
like,
systems, they're holding the system.
I guess. But and sometimes they'll ask you to the intercom, you know, would you like ketchup with that or anything in the condiments? And I'll say, yeah, let me get a regular, you know, ketchup. Get to the thing. Sometimes it takes them like 10, like, I don't know if they just got one person back there. It takes forever.
The person taking the order is making the order.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And then they get the bag and then no ketchup. And I'm like, you asked. What gets me the most is any fast food that hands you your bag of food and there's not napkins in it. Like, I'm taking this food mobile. What makes you think I don't need a napkin?
Oh my God.
At least one.
At least one.
At least, you know
it's gonna
greasy
happen.
Fries, something like
it's gonna happen.
I'm mobile here.
Yeah, right.
No napkins.
Right.
The audacity.
I'm eating at your restaurant. Think about my life choices here. You know I'm going to need a napkin.
I need a napkin.
Yeah, absolutely.
But seriously, all that to say is the best way to equate it is like, you know, a Chick-fil-A. I mean, I've never gotten mad at a Chick-fil-A ever.
Nope.
And if I was mad, they calmed me down by their spirit.
Phenomenal chicken sandwich in there. Yeah. No, it is. I mean, Chick-fil-A is that way. Publix is that way. But I mean, when people talk about it all the time, it's like most people that buy cars and houses, they don't buy it because it's they don't use the agent or the car salesman because they're the cheapest or anything. Some of them will drive farther distances and pay more money to buy a car from the person they trust because they're comfortable with it. Like, you know what I mean? Same with your real estate agent. You know, it's like people buy houses that they find comfort in and stuff like that. So comfort and consistency comes from excellence. I think it's just a big deal. More organizations, especially churches, need to be paying attention to it. So we actually have I'm working on a little project right now, some culture coaching that churches can subscribe to and do all that stuff to start working with their teams, because far too many of these people at the pastor retreats are like, can you send some videos for that? And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make some. So not to say we're perfect, we have it all together, but I am really proud of what Transformation Church has been able to do and the continued response from people of like, this place is incredible. Like,
and it's from people that have like, it's not just
other pastors, you know what I mean? Like,
and it's wide.
Yeah.
It's the first timer that's never been in a church. It's the person that's been in church their whole life that's way older than us, you know, all say the same thing for the most part, you know, or something similar. And there's just something to that, you know. So it's like, I know sometimes maybe, I don't know, I've wondered, like sometimes I guess even Sunday when, and one of the parts where Pastor Dan was preaching, it was almost like he was just bragging on our church a little bit in a good way.
Yeah.
But I was wondering, I wonder if anybody sitting out here thinks we're being a little cocky or, because he says something about that's what makes us special or something like that. And I was just thinking to myself, like, I wonder if someone sitting out there going, man, they think highly of themselves as a church. And then I was like, yeah, we do.
We do.
And
well, I think we and you we've talked about this many times. We're both always we don't feel like we're that special, but we've been proven over and over again that we are. Like, we feel like anybody can do this, and we feel like everyone should be doing this. And then we just learned, like, I guess we just kind of all, we're not the only ones. There's a lot of great churches that have great cultures too.
Lots of
them.
Yeah.
What we're realizing is great churches with great cultures that are growing represents 0.05% of the churches in America right now. I mean, the vast majority are in decline or at least stagnant at best. So,
and at some point we got to talk about that. Like, why is that? Like, especially the American church for a long time just probably did things really wrong in some ways.
Sure.
But I don't know. It's like, I do think there's something. Yeah, not that we want to go around bragging. Like, we're not the best church in town. And I think we're the best church in town, but I go here. You know what I'm saying?
And
like,
work here.
you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's my church.
I pay him to say that.
It's my church. So it's like, do I think we're the best church in town? I do. Are we the best church in town? We're in the running. If we're not, I mean, I just think that's by the like. At the end of the day, too, at some point, it's like, you guys show receipts. Like, I mean, if you want to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
How do you determine what's the best church in town? If there is one, is that a thing? Is that even? Should we even be talking about that? I don't know. I don't think it's. We're not. I don't think the churches are competing with each other. But I don't think it's wrong for us to be proud of the thing, the thing that we've helped create through God giving us the gifts and the wisdom to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Taking it serious, the excellence factor, and then on a Sunday morning when we're full of people, not that it's about a full room, but it is about a full room. Because those are people that have souls. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not just for numbers' sake.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't know. I think there's something to. I think it's okay to be. I'm proud of it.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think we should be proud of it, and I do think there is something that is special. And I think right now, like the churchy spiritual answer, like when people ask, "What are y'all doing right now?" It's like, yeah, God's got His hand on us. But
For sure.
I think He's got His hand on us too because, again,
Well,
I think because He can trust it.
Exactly. I think God, I don't think, we know God honors excellence, and it's like. So it all goes hand in hand, right? It's like, would God's hand be on TC right now if TC did not cultivate environments that they could steward the environment and the people that are in it well?
Yeah, but
it's like we put in years of work to build leaders and cultivate a healthy culture so that people could walk into it. And it's like, had we not done that, would God be honoring it the way He is? And it's like, I think there'd be an argument for a no for that. It's like,
I always wonder too, though, is it's like, because I know like the teams are made up of people, and we'll talk about the staff team just because we're the ones that lead we lead the
right,
thing.
right.
But it's like, I wonder how different it would be. I mean, me and John and Rick and Tiff have all been at another church together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At the same
staff.
time.
Yeah, on staff.
I was only there for a month, but we were on staff together. So that's 4 out of our 9 staff were together. I just wonder, like, what if the 4 of us didn't end up here and we ended up somewhere else? Would we be seeing some of the same fruit? Like, how much of it is this team, or how much of it is like the anointing on the house that we get to be a part of? And I think there's a level of both. Like, there's
Sure.
part of all that. It's like, and maybe you just got to go. I'll say it selfishly because I don't know another way to say it, but we can all think that way. Is like, would I be experiencing the success I'm experiencing
If it weren't for me, I'm just
no. If I was somewhere else, if I went somewhere else,
no, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally with you.
Like-
yeah. I think it's fun. It's fun to
and
think
like,
about.
if you ask yourself the same question, like if from a student's perspective, you started with dang near none and you got 50. Like, if you went to another church in a similar demographic area, would it be the same? Or is part of what you get is because of this other stuff? Like, if the church was failing and you went there, could you do it? Would it be harder? Surely.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, that kind of stuff
100%, man.
makes me. I just think about that kind of stuff.
It's all connected, right?
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, I can speak for me. I thrive in this environment. Like the fact that you guys trust me enough to run students without like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Like I thrive in that. I've told other people like I don't know if I could go to a church that's been established, that has an established youth ministry, that, you know, I feel like I'm anointed for the season that I'm in, to where I can thrive in building a foundation to pass it off the baton to when the next students director, whatever, comes through and takes it even farther than I could ever take it.
Yeah.
And I do think that I have, I've thought about that. You know, that is something I've thought about. I was like, you know, I don't think I could thrive the way I'm thriving here in another environment at this season in my life because of how everything is put together now and how the team goes and how much freedom I have to lead myself as well as lead other teams, although I am as young as I am, you know, so yeah.
No, I mean, I think that's great. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like we've had a lot of conversations. I mean, even when Justin was thinking about coming here, like when the conversation first started, you know, one of the things I told him, you know, is like, look, man, I think you're a horse that's been locked in a really small field, and I would love to see what ministry looks like if we just knock down the fences. And it's like, what if because we both knew we were entrepreneuristic. Like we both had these, like we were big vision people. So it's like, what could it look like if we knocked the fences down and really just let you run and cultivate an environment for you to do that? And I think we've been able to successfully do that, you know. And I think for him, same for Rick, where it's like, man, I think you've got more in you than you've ever been allowed to use, and let's really figure out what that looks like. And for everybody, you know, I think it's special, man. Like what we have is very special. And I think one of the things that I'm proud of for our team, and it's always the way I try to lead, and it's not about me as much as it is about the team, but one of the things I try to do for the team is I try to remove ceilings as much as possible. Where it's like, well, we couldn't do that. And I'm like, well, why couldn't we do, like, or I don't know if we're capable, or I don't know if I believe in myself enough for that or whatever. And it's like, dude, I think it's like constantly removing ceilings, where it's like, could I be the president of PYP and still be the executive pastor at TC? I'm like, let's find out, dude. Like, you know, like, could I be on the board for the chamber? And can I, like, you know, on Justin's behalf, it's like, you know, it's like we've talked about those things where it's like, I got this opportunity. I'm like, dude, this is what we talked about, right? It's like, let's figure out all the things we can say yes to, and it has given us a special voice in a lot of spaces that other churches just don't exist in.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we made it a point to, like, let's remove the ceilings. Like, you don't have to, you know, Justin in particular knows 4 or 5 other XPs in this city, and it's like there's only one that I can think of that has the same freedom he has, which is David, to like really dream and not like sit under someone's thumb, you know. And hopefully the rest of the staff feels the same way, you know. But yeah, I think that makes something very special when people really feel like their leader wants them to fly and succeed, and within myself. So I you know, my hope all the time for the team is like, when you talk about you, John, Rick, and Tiff are all at the same place, and it's like, but I felt like what all of you needed was just something. You needed something bigger, not a church that was bigger, but a vision that was bigger. To say like, I think there's something more here, you know.
Yeah, and it's you know, and then you've seen growth. I mean, over the years with John, like John in particular, I didn't work with Rick and Tiff very long at all. Yeah. John did for about 6 months or so, I guess. But you know, I've just worked with John since 2015-ish or something. Yeah. You know, almost 10 years. You know, like. Come a long way. Like we've seen growth there, probably in each other.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I think the environment helps a lot. You know, for sure. I mean, the environment definitely helps, and that's the funny part of that. That's what's special. I think about some of it is the dynamic. You know, if we lost 1 or 2 people, I don't think it would impact much. But you know, if we lost half. You know, if half the staff left or something crazy, I think we start seeing that impact. You know, the recipe of the team in a way, or the chemistry is probably a better word. You know?
For sure.
I think it's interesting. You know, but
well, we got something special, and that's what we talked about on Sunday.
That's right, Nate.
All that to say, that was a big runaway to say we really have something special when we talked about it on Sunday. Had more to do with multi-generational church, but Always. But
That's true though. I'm joking. What's going on here?
I don't know.
I'm joking, but I'm serious.
J.O. the CEO.
Hey, that was my nickname.
So, no, we Sunday. Go check out the message from Sunday.
Why are you laughing?
J.O. the CEO.
I preached actually with Pastor Dan. We talked about multi-generational ministry and Elisha. It was a good time. We did a preach off. It was fun. Go check it out. It was a fun time.
I really wish Elijah and Elisha weren't so closely named in that whole story.
Yeah. Elijah and Elisha.
It's very confusing.
Yeah, it can be a lot.
It can be a lot. It's like I was thinking, like, if you're new, and this is like the first time you're in church. Anytime somebody uses Elijah and Elisha,
like,
surely they're
which
going,
one?
"Are they saying the same thing?" But no, I thought it was good the way we. I thought it was a good, different way to preach. You know, just from a. If you're just sitting out there going, "Oh, this is different. This is new. This is kind of cool." You know?
Yeah.
In that regard, I like.
It was very impactful. It wasn't like it was just we were just having fun and like you know it was like very impactful.
Yeah, the prayer was like it was very challenging. We wanted it to be very challenging. You know.
Well, then like some of it was stepping on toes in a sense, but like say like from you to the older crowd, there was a couple times you're talking about the older crowd could just be out there complaining or whatever, and almost stepping on toes in a way, in a good way, I think.
Yeah.
But then there was also the like whether it was you or Pastor Dan about like we still need you to.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing is like we don't want you to be like they got it now and move on or go to a church or
exactly.
where there's people that look like you or. I thought the best part was when you talked about small groups, like don't just join the 65 and older one.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was impactful where I could see someone going, that's practical.
Yeah.
That's practical.
Yeah. I'm guilty of doing that or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was
because the human nature is to. I mean, if I was 65 or older, I would want to go to the. But
naturally.
I think that's a practical step to go. I should go to that disc golf or whatever and build relationships and stuff. So I thought the whole thing was cool the way we did it.
It was a lot of fun.
It's good.
Yeah. Next year there was a suggestion. Kyle actually gave a suggestion for me and Pastor Dan to do another preach off, and then for Nate and Pastor Rick to do a preach off, and for Justin to be the referee.
Yeah.
I need a whistle.
Give him a whistle and a jersey, a little stripe referee shirt.
Wow.
That'll be hilarious.
That'd be
But what am I refereeing?
Just like when
the time's up?
Time's up.
Time's up.
Oh wow.
What would be funny? We should give him like flags.
Flag
If
on
you
a
say-
flag.
Somebody says something. If someone says something outlandish, she's like throws a flag on. That'll be
Heresy.
that'll be amazing.
A heresy flag.
When I said old instead of older, when I said old people instead of older,
Flag on the flag, yeah.
offensive.
No, but your guys' sermon, The Generational God, it kind of set it up for me this coming Sunday on. I'm going to be talking about next gen.
Yep.
So that kind of set it up and stuff like that. So
Yeah, no, 100%.
that's
Are
gonna
you
be exciting.
nervous?
So I would say I'm nervous, but at this the youth conference I went to, John Bevere, he talked. He said, "Sorry, I name dropped. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that, but
Go
I
ahead,
did.
go
I
ahead.
did.
Job, Nate.
I
You
did.
saw him. You
No,
did.
but it's because you asked that question. That's the only reason why I'm doing it. He said." People ask me all the time, am I nervous for speaking in front of thousands and like stadiums on thousands? I said, no, I'm not nervous. And they're like, what? And he's like, yeah, I'm not nervous. If I felt like I was performing, I'd be nervous. But if I feel like I'm serving, then I'm not nervous.
Oh,
And
that's good.
I'm like, well,
You should have just said that, not quoted John Bevere.
yeah.
Should have just said,
No, I'm going to give him
when
credit.
I'm serving.
No, I ain't doing that.
So you're saying you're not nervous?
No. I see. That's I've been struggling. Like,
Lies.
No, but then I've heard like some people are like, you should be nervous because you're carrying, you have like that holy
Well, I
fear
think-
of God where it's
so
like,
I think
you're carrying
who
the
was
weight.
it that I talked to, or we've talked about this before. It's been a while. There was someone that we saw. We both watched the video. They were talking about what does being nervous mean, and they talked about they talked about Olympic athletes, and they're like, "Are you nervous?" And they said, "No, I'm excited." Do you remember that?
It's the same.
It's the same.
It's the adrenaline.
Yeah, so it's like what does opportunities that for some people the same exact opportunity they would use and they experience the same things. So what he was talking about was he said, all right, you take someone, you say, all right, how do you feel? And they say, I'm nervous. And well, what is that? What's going on in your body? It said my hands are sweaty, my heart's racing. I'm starting to sweat a little bit. I got a butterfly in my stomach. I'm really, really nervous. And he said, you go to another person, you go to an Olympic athlete, and they say, how do you feel? And they say, excited. And they say, describe that. And they say, my hands are sweaty, and I'm starting to sweat a little bit. I got butterflies in my stomach. And what he was saying, what he was saying was, for one person, it's fear. But for the other person, the same exact feelings that you would have in your body are coming from excitement instead of nervousness. And you're talking about how like you choose what type of demeanor you walk with. You can say all of this is making me excited for the uncertain outcome of the future, or you could say it's making me nervous because I don't know what's going to happen. But the reality is everything else is the same. So you choose to put language to how you're feeling. So all that to say is like, are you nervous? It's like, no, is there an anxiousness, an excitement, or all those things? Yes. But you know, and I think it's interesting because you're an athlete where it's like, you're choosing to let those things be excitement and anticipatory as opposed to fearful. Yeah. Right. So it's like, and so when you're saying it's like, is there something wrong with me or whatever? It's like, I would say, no, I think you've chosen to know how to use your words to steer you in the direction that makes you better as opposed to afraid. Yeah. And I think that, that's so.
Yeah, no, I agree with that for sure. It's like the,
everyone write that down.
If anyone is like, or like for me, the nervous part about getting up to preach is like, is it going to land the way it lands? I want it to in my head. Yeah. Like, am I going to connect the dots, or are they going to connect the dots the way I'm hoping?
That's why we say, thank God for Thursdays.
Right. So it's like, there's the more nerves is like that kind of stuff. Yeah. But I agree. It's like to say that there's like the 5 or 10 minutes before you go up there, you don't get that, like a little bit of, but I just know it's adrenaline. Yeah. I don't think it's butterflies to make me nervous. I'm not nervous. It's just like, oh, it's exciting.
It's exciting. There's so many thoughts running through your mind because, like, I want to honor the house. I want to honor God. I want to, But what I did last year when I preached, I was telling people, like, I was like, I felt all that, excitement now and, like, everything. But, like, when I was up there, I felt like I was meant to be there in that moment. Like, I didn't feel it. Like, it just felt like it was where I was meant to be. And, like, I am serving. Like, that's the thing. So.
And you killed it. You're going to kill it this Sunday. So everybody come out, support Nate. It's going to be a fun time. So
come on.
All right, Justin, we got to get out of here. We got stuff to do.
I definitely do.
Yeah, we've gone over a little bit, I think. So
have we?
I don't know. No, normal? All right, cool.
Normal.
Y'all said we're good. We're in good parameters here. All right. Justin, if they listened to this and said, my God, these are the people I need to listen to and find out more about
every week,
where would they go?
Listen, you need to go to transformationchurch.com or at Transformation Pensacola on all the social channels, and make sure you like, subscribe, follow, share, click the bell button,
all the stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, our TC Kids director came in the building. She's right behind the camera. Why don't you come out here and say hi to the people? Come on, we've already said it now. You have to. Now they're going to feel like you don't want to see them. Come on. Right. Just come wave. You don't have to do nothing. Just come wave.
Yeah. She hates y'all.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
She doesn't like y'all. Sorry.
Well, sorry, guys.
We don't have makeup on either, but we're still here.
That's right.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's right. All right. My beautiful wife, Ashley, is behind the camera. She won't come out here. So, I'll wave at you for her. Now she's got to do a whole podcast because she didn't show up for just 2 seconds on a
See what happens?
podcast. So, that's crazy. But, all right. Well, we got to go. We got stuff we got to do. Big things popping.
Hey, little things stopping.
Little things stopping.
Brand new whip just hopped in.
Oh. All right.
I didn't like that.
It's a song. You don't know that song?
Oh, that's funny. All right. I love y'all. We'll catch y'all next week for another week, another sermon, another follow-up or message recap or whatever podcast this is. Later.
Later.
Peace.